higher power. Was he getting high on stage? And rampage in Oregon. President Obama's passionate plea to stop the madness.
Somehow this has become routine.
The Political View is all over the hottest topics on the campaign trail. Hillary going public about Lenny Kravitz's privates. Ben getting the wind knocked out of him. It's all on the table. Plus, former child star from Who's the Boss, Danny Pintauro, shares his shocking downward spiral into sex and drugs that left him HIV positive, and why he's breaking his silence 12 years later. It all starts now on The View with Whoopi, Michelle Collins, Joy Behar, Candace Cameron Bure, Raven Simone, and Paula Ferris. Now, let's get things started.
Welcome to The View. Okay. You know, this is a first for me, because Candace, you and I, this is the first time we've been actually on the show together.
That's right. Yeah. It's great.
Are you excited?
For you? I am. Are we going to spar?
About what? No, but I understand that you're trending. Let me ask you, does that hurt at all?
That I'm trending.
Is that painful to trend?
Only if it's for bad reasons. But I'm trending for good reasons today.
Yeah.
I'm trending because I shared a picture last night of the love of my life back in my high school days. That's Scott Weinger, and
Everybody
he played
knows
Scott on Full House. And you know, we tried to break the internet last night with that picture. We didn't, but it went viral. And so yesterday I wasn't here on the show because I was filming an episode for Fuller House, my new show. Yeah. And Scott is on
Netflix,
that episode.
Right?
On Netflix next year.
I'm excited. He's back.
I know.
It's good to see everybody's working again.
We're all working.
Because Sherry's here, my darling Sherry is here.
Yes.
If you want this or not, but thank you for going natural today.
Oh, my natural. You know,
I say that because there's so many women in the industry, including myself, who get pressured into wearing certain kinds of hair that doesn't necessarily grow out of our head, and then we get addicted to it. Some people wear it to grow their hair. Some people wear it because they got no hair, and then some people wear it just to be cute. But I'm very proud of you today.
So what are your reasons until you wear that hair?
Because if I dyed my hair every day, like it would be well, it is this short. Yeah. But it's also because, you know, in hair, it really is like
my hair, by the way. People think when I go through the TSA X-ray, they like feel in the back for like the stitches. I'm like, it's attached. It's my hair.
I have to say, this is like a kind of a vulnerable thing because I never wear. This is what I wear my hair like on the weekends because I had a weave and it took out a lot of my hair. But
a big part of it, frankly, is that we glorify these shooters. I mean, you know, we talk about it, but
we're not going to say his name.
We're not saying his name. And actually, funny enough, today on Twitter, we shouldn't say his name. Don't. A name that we should say is this gentleman, Chris Mintz, who's a 30-year-old Army vet, and he actually went and threw himself on the shooter and got shot himself 10 times. He's trending right now on Twitter because I think we're starting to see...
Say his name again, the hero.
Chris Mintz.
Chris Mintz.
I think the media does have a bit of, you know, we have to stop glorifying these people and also get guns out of the hands of people who are mentally ill. That's also a big part of it.
What they say is that this is what the NRA will say. It's not about the guns, it's about mental health issues. However, let's just throw another statistic out. States have cut $5 billion in mental health services from 2009 to 2012. Okay? So if you're really serious about mental health, then stop cutting funding for mental health.
But there's also
Plus, one more thing. Mentally ill people are not necessarily violent. It's not just about mental illness. It's wrong to really vilify mentally ill people. They suffer. This is a peculiar thing. And, you know, this is the only country in the world that has these school shootings. There is murders all over the place. We know that.
Good.
I have a hard time talking about this. And I don't want to break down, but it's so hard to think of all these people that have died, and it breaks my heart, and that leads to the conversations that I have with my children. And yes, there are things that we need to do with mental health. I have an opinion on gun control, but ultimately, when I talk to my children about this and they go, Mommy, what if I don't feel safe going to school?
That's right.
And that all comes back to my faith. And it talks about my faith. I said, you know, at the end of the day, if I talk to my kids, and I want them to know how much I love them, but I want them to know how much Jesus loves them, and we put our faith in Jesus Christ.
You know, it's so funny with Jeffrey. I talked to Jeffrey.
Well, I don't understand. So what does your faith have to do with guns? I don't get it.
It keeps her from not being in fear.
Yeah, you're in fear. And when your children are going, I don't feel safe to go to school anymore, and I'm like, but life is like, it's a vapor. It's so fast. Yes. We don't know if we have tomorrow. We're thankful if we're breathing today. So for my children, I want them to know, do you have peace of where you're going to go when you die?
We have to talk about this. We have to talk about this when we come back, because I have something to say.
We have more time as soon as we come back from this commercial. We'll be right back.
Next, a brand new app that lets you rate your friends and coworkers. Is it a breeding ground for online bullies?
Welcome back to the show. Before we move on to other subjects, Raven, darling, you had something else to say.
I think it also depends on our society. I know, again, Obama said it. We definitely have this cyclical pattern of things we say. But this boy was much a recluse. Nobody was paying attention. They chalked him off as shy. He always had headphones in his head. He always wore the same kind of clothes. He was with his mother. He moved on, you know, and no one really said anything. No one spoke out because we're in our own personal bubble all the time.
Yeah, but you can't just speak out at anybody who acts weird. A lot of people
No, on a consistent basis, Joy, on an everyday basis. That's like your daughter doing something on a consistent basis, and you go, something's wrong with you. Some people just don't do that. They're like, oh, she'll grow out of it. She'll grow out of it.
If he didn't have a gun, this wouldn't have happened. So, like, let's also get back to how this
He
is what
could
we're
have
talking
stabbed
about
someone,
here.
Michelle.
He could have stabbed 10 people.
He could have built a bomb and set it off somewhere.
Get a gun, even if it's not yours personally, that you own it.
Well,
I think getting back to Raven's point, we got to really step out of our self zone and exhibit some love, because we're missing a lot of love.
Joy, let's talk about something more.
Yeah.
We'll change the subject.
Let's change it.
This is a fun subject. This week, Justin Bieber said he wanted to live like Jesus, and last night he was reportedly on stage smoking a joint. Now, does he know something about Jesus that we don't know?
First of all, was it Kush, Justin? Was it Kush? What were you smoking, Justin?
You know, it's so funny.
What that means.
I know what Kush means, girl. I'll tell you.
I'll tell you.
I don't know.
We don't know. Okay,
I'm not even sure if this conversation we're having is legal with Raven, but I think that people think that. I think that people think, you know, because he said he wanted to live like Jesus, and I think that people think when people say that they're Christians that they're perfect. And the thing that's different about a Christian is every day you get up, the next day you're going, I need to do better. I need to do better. Because, you know, the boy is, you know, he said, yes, I want to live like Jesus, but he even says in the Bible, we all fall short of the glory of God. So it's always, we're always trying.
I think sometimes there's a lot of Christians who like force it down our throats with certain ways of being
forced it.
But being good all the time, so then other Christians get a bad rap that don't do that. And especially when you're just, you are a rock star, dude. He is smoking and drinking on stage. Not all rock stars need to do that.
I think that it must be easier to pray if you're stoned, don't you?
Yes, I hear all kinds of noises.
I'm not sure what voice you're hearing that is answering you back. I know that me, I'm like, I love to eat red velvet cake. I'm a diabetic. I know that if you continue. Okay, I don't know if y'all was clapping because I'm a diabetic or the red velvet. Y'all gotta.
You better put some can of butter in there.
I know that if you do not eat right, then we'll talk about amputating your legs. But that does not mean I'm a diabetic, you know, hypocrite because you see me eating red velvet cake. It just means I know I got to do better. I need people in my life like Justin Bieber going, eat kale, eat broccoli.
Justin, the beans,
You're the Jesus expert here. Let me hear what
I'm the Jesus expert, not really. He's going to make a ton of mistakes, but we shouldn't write him off. If he's just starting on this path, I think it's great. And for all the Christians or the praying people out there, let's just pray to encourage encourage him.
Right.
It might take him 10 years. It might take him 30 years.
May I read a quote that I read a few days ago on the show, and it's taken on a new meaning. I'm going to reread it. He said, you don't need to go to church to be a Christian. If you go to Taco Bell, that doesn't make you a taco. Now that I know that he's stoned, it actually makes a hell of a lot more sense. So, Justin, go for it.
How many mistakes do you need to make that are the same before you change yourself?
Honey,
Oh, the Bible says like 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. It means it's
until Jesus came back. We
all
will
those
never
mistakes.
All I can say is hallelujah. We'll be right back with even more hot topics. Yeah.
The price of faith. Should bakery owners have to pay a big fine for refusing to make a gay wedding cake? Monday, get ready to get shopping and make a difference. With You Your Deal with Stacey London, we've partnered with vendors to save you up to 81% off the perfectly pink products you want. And you're helping to save lives in the fight against breast cancer.
Welcome back to The View. Now, there is a new app that is like Yelp. You know what Yelp is?
Yes.
Okay, it's for humans, though, this app. Because instead of rating restaurants, you rate your friends and your coworkers based on their character and personalities. Oh, this is really...
This is awful.
Is this just an open invitation for lawsuits and complaints and bullying?
Yep.
Tell me.
Yes.
I mean, for sure. It's this is an app where you really can't opt out of it. People can create your profile for you. So even if you don't want to have one, there can still be one for you. And the creators say that they're actually doing it for good. Like, oh, you know, we want people to write nice things about other people, and like, it's going to help society.
No, you don't.
Let me tell you something, and I'm just going to read this, which I debated reading, but I'm going to do it. There's a journalist, her name is Mandy Statmiller. She went to high school with these girls who started the app, and she Instagrammed a picture of them and said that in high school they were the mean girls, the Queen Bee mean girls. Yes.
Wow.
And that they had a burn book for the unpopular kids who were perhaps more disadvantaged than they were.
Wow.
So I think we all need to really think about what this app is for. Why does it exist? Why do we need it? We have stalking problems. We have people committing suicide. Why do we need an app
But you know,
that's
this-
only going to
This
further
kind of
hurt
app,
us?
Michelle,
Yeah, I agree.
this kind of app, and even before you said this, I said I don't care what kind of, because if you rate people good, you yourself get a better rating. So that's why they're saying they were trying to encourage you to say good things. But I don't care what you call it. It is an app where you can bully and shame people. And this is the thing. If you rate the person negative, if I rate you negatively, you have 48 hours, Joy, to fix my opinion of you. And if you don't fix it, then the review goes public.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't have time to defend myself against you because I don't care about you.
Who cares?
We have a tweet from someone, and it said, again, somebody saying, ridiculous. They'll change their tune when X posts a horrible review of them. And it's not fair. Yes, I'm going to have a bad view of someone, but somebody else can have a good review, and I know that's what it's for. But at the same time, if you have a preconceived notion of that person, like movies, I don't like to listen to movie reviews because your ideas might be better, than mine.
Conversations, real conversations with real people.
You waste time going to see a show that's bad. Why not read the review?
But I like Pootie Tang. Do you?
Oh, I love Pootie Tang.
Some people would say that's the first movie.
Candace doesn't know what Pootie Tang is.
I don't either. What is it?
It's a movie that was produced by Chris Rock. It's a cult.
Pootie Tang.
Pootie Tang.
All right. We have another topic. Here's a new take on the term child psychologist. In Mexico, a 13-year-old girl, Daphne Almazan, just became the world's youngest psychologist.
How old is she?
She's 13. She's a shrink. You love it?
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Okay, y'all like it. Start them young.
I just think that there is something that's very fresh about having a childlike perspective. I mean, she's 13 years old, and I remember that little YouTube video that came out of this little 3-year-old girl that was telling her mommy, like, settle down, and let's have love for one another. I think it's amazing. I think that young people can be so gifted and they don't get the credit that they deserve because we're not used to it.
Yep.
But would I go to her for marriage counseling? Listen, she doesn't have the experience. Like, I'm not going to see her for that.
It sort of reminds me of comedians in a way, because comedians start when they're like 18. They have very little to talk about. When I was in utero, this is what happened. You know, as you get older, you develop a sense of history. You have more things to talk about. And it's the same idea with a 13-year-old psychologist. Maybe she can empathize with another child, but she hasn't got the Freudian experience. She hasn't got the life experience.
But Joy, I call that also plaque, because when like plaque on your teeth, when you get too set in your ways and old,
it's not hard set in your ways. It's education.
Yes, there's education, but for instance, I learned from my mother. So what she knows, she taught me, and then I learned past her.
But she wasn't 13 when she taught you.
No, but there's some people who don't. But at the same time, like the girl who tells her parents, you have to give love. That's what her parent taught her.
Yeah, but what if you have a parent who's horrible, who doesn't know what she's talking about? Now you repeat what the parent did. She went to the whole line of therapy.
And I think as working child actors, there was something different, and so we can have an appreciation that a 13-year-old is capable of some of these things that an average 13-year-old.
You don't sit your little behind down and
exactly.
Yeah, but she went to more school than you did. She went to more school than you did.
Sherry has a live gig coming up she wants to plug. Tell her.
Yes, on Monday, October 12th, I will be performing live in Nashville, Tennessee with my best friend, Bone Hampton, in the Shamlin Theater at Lipscomb University. For ticket info, go to our website. Come laugh!
Okay. We'll be right back with more show.
Did Hillary get too hardcore with Lena Dunham? Is Trump showing off his softer side? Joy's firing up both sides of the political view. Next.
Clinton really went there with Lena Dunham this week. Ben Carson went nowhere with Hurricane Joaquin. And those are just two topics we're getting into on today's Political View. So please welcome my two favorite anchors on different shows. You're from Blaze TV,
I am,
Amy Holmes, and the lovely and talented Democratic strategist, Robert Zimmerman, whom I know for years. Oh, I got a little flustered there. So let me set the story up, because Hillary Clinton has said for years that there has been a vast right-wing conspiracy against her family. Yes, she has. But this week, Kevin McCarthy, who's poised to take over for John Boehner, you know who he is, right? Speaker of the House, made this shocking admission in regards to the Benghazi investigation, which has been going on forever. Take a look.
Everybody thought Hillary Clinton was unbeatable, right? But we put together a Benghazi special committee, a select committee. What are her numbers today? Her numbers are dropping. Why? Because she's untrustable. But no one would have known any of that had happened had we not thought and made that happen.
Okay, Amy, has Hillary been right all along that the Republican Party is out to get her, and that's why they spent millions of dollars on a conspiracy that doesn't, on a Benghazi thing that doesn't exist?
Let me answer that in two parts.
Go ahead.
Yes, Republicans want to defeat Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
That has never
even if they have to make up stuff.
The second part is I think the Benghazi tragedy needed to be investigated. Hillary Clinton, her role in that in terms of security leading up to Benghazi, what was actually going on there. Those are two separate issues. But I think that that quote has actually been misconstrued. Kevin McCarthy is not saying the Benghazi committee was set up to drive her poll numbers
even the
down.
Republicans can't defend that comment.
What he points out is that, and this is among Democratic constituents, 63% of her Democratic constituents now find her untrustworthy.
Oh, because of the... Go ahead.
Let's cut to the chase.
Yeah.
There's an old expression, when a politician commits a gaffe, they tell the truth.
That's right.
And here's a situation where Kevin McCarthy, next in line to be Speaker, admitted what has been widely known, that this committee is nothing more than a political farce.
How much did they spend on this committee so far?
This committee alone is $4.5 million.
Okay.
But let's remember that this is the longest-running congressional investigation in the history of Congress, longer than Pearl Harbor, the Kennedy assassination, Watergate. Hillary Clinton's been asking to testify publicly under oath for over a year. Coincidentally, when do they call her? Right before the campaign goes into full swing.
Okay, so when you
read her emails.
But when you spend that much money attacking a candidate, and then of course people are going to say, well, gee, I don't trust her, you know, because they've spent that much money attacking the girl, the woman.
Well, we know that the investigative body before the House launched theirs never even spoke to Hillary Clinton when they issued their report. And what has been driving her?
She's testified in Congress before.
No, IPAB did not investigate Hillary, or did not speak to Hillary Clinton.
Let's change this, because Hillary, well, she's in the news this week. In an attempt to make a play for millennial voters, she just did an interview with Girl stars Lena Dunham that took a very strange turn. Watch.
Madam Secretary, I cannot tell you what an honor it is for me and for all the Lenny readers to be able to speak to you in this way.
I thought this was an interview with Lenny Kravitz.
Did you see the footage where his, like, pants split? And, like, his...
No, I missed that.
And his...
Yeah.
Stuff fell out of his pants.
Yeah. Do you think I could get that?
On YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Okay, good. Look for that.
She's obviously trying to, you know, be funny and make a joke, but isn't it a little unseemly for the former Secretary of State to be making a joke about Lenny Kravitz's schmeckle? Come on.
Let me tell you, I think it is great that Hillary Clinton's sitting down with Lena Dunham and reaching out to a whole new generation of constituents. How do the Republicans reach out? They talk to Pat Boone or the grandfather on Duck Dynasty.
I think that she should sit down with Lena Dunham, but to do a penis joke is unseemly for the Secretary of State.
Lena Dunham did the penis joke.
Hillary Clinton went along with the joke.
Investigate it.
I thought it was really. She needs to talk to me. I'm a comedian, and I would have told her not to do that. What do you say?
Well, you said unseemly, unseamless. Can I make that joke? Like, remember that Bill Clinton, when he was running...
She did another penis joke there. I mean, I understand the attraction to this type of talking. I just think if you're running for president, you don't say stuff like that.
I think the Republicans would do a world of good if they reached out to constituencies out of their wheelhouse. If they sat down with the lesbian and the gay community versus passing laws to discriminate against them. I think that would broaden their horizons.
Of course. We know that. That's a separate issue, I think. All right. She may be giving too much information. And then there's Ben Carson. Watch.
You're in the White House. What would you be doing right now with Tropical Storm Joaquin? What would you be doing if you were actually in the White House? What would be your first step?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hopefully he'll think of a plan by the time he comes to The View next Tuesday. But, you know, he's a global climate change denier. So what does he know about hurricanes anyway, you know?
Well, actually, the incidence of hurricanes has been down, but Ben Carson, he has not been a governor, so I wouldn't necessarily expect him to have that information at the ready. The answer would be, I would discuss this with my FEMA director, and I would discuss it with my cabinet secretaries of what we need to do, and the state's governors.
But he and Trump are constantly saying, I have people for this. When they ask them a question, you say, well, what would you do about Syria? I have people. I have people. Who are these people?
Well, they would be the president's advisors.
Yeah,
I actually thought
it's a little vague, isn't it?
I thought Ben Carson's answer was refreshingly candid.
Amy,
you mean like, duh?
Amy, if he ever read a FEMA pamphlet, he would know what to say to people. If he ever read a brochure, I have, of course. I mean, obviously, it's not refreshingly candid. It's stunningly ignorant. Yes. And I think we are entitled to more from people who aspire to be president of the United States.
So you would support Jeb Bush?
Really? Come on, you have to admit it. You have to admit it. That your side is really coming up empty.
Coming up empty. Jeb Bush actually gave a very detailed answer, which you would expect.
What do they call
because he was the governor of Florida, which, of course, has been hit by hurricanes over and over. So
yeah, but he's running 2% in the polls or something. Nobody likes him.
Well, I know that you don't.
No, your team doesn't like him.
My team.
What's his name? Trump's got 27%. He's got like 3 or 4%. They don't like him.
Right, we're in a primary. It's a primary battle. You would expect that it's going to be, you know, rough and tumble. It's politics.
So that means that in the years to come, or the months to come, rather, Hillary Clinton will no longer be seen as a liar? Thank you. Donald Trump is still leading in the polls, but he's fading a little. He's fading. Listen to this. Donald Trump is fading a little bit. He's backing away from the birther thing. He admitted that he's been a little childish, and he has a happy family cover shot in this week's People magazine. I have to say, this kinder, gentler Trump isn't working for me. What do you think?
We'll see if it works for his voters. Clearly, he's hoping it will because his numbers are fading. Rubio is coming up. Ben Carson is certainly nipping at his heels. Yeah. I don't think Trump has the average family. I don't know how relatable this is going to be, but, you know, they all do it. They all wheel out their families to try to get those
Joy,
votes.
Yeah.
His advisors want to give him a political facelift, and he needs an organ transplant. I mean...
Good one, Robert. Well, I mean, the point is that he really captured the imagination of America by just saying, right, what he feels like. That goes in, as I always say, he's like my Aunt Rose. Whatever comes in his head comes out of his mouth. And that has been very attractive to people. So I don't know if this other side of him is going to work as much. Because then he becomes Jeb Bush.
Well, and we haven't really...
Sorry.
Well, Jeb Bush being a good family man, I don't think that's boring. But we haven't seen this side of Donald Trump.
Well, Jeb Bush, he's only been married once, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, like Obama. Straight shooter. Thanks to Amy Holmes and Robert Zimmerman. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Who's the Boss star Danny Pintauro shares why he's breaking 12 years of silence about being HIV positive. Next.
TV at a young age, I've seen too many child stars whose lives have descended into dark, tragic places. But Danny Pintauro is using his journey to try to help save lives. But first, here's his story.
At just 8 years old, Danny Pintauro shot to stardom as the scene-stealing cutie from the beloved sitcom Who's the Boss?
I've got something great for show and tell.
Well, that's nice, sweetheart. What is it?
Here.
Years after the show ended, Danny tried to quietly live life as a gay man. But as a former child actor, his personal life wouldn't stay that way for long. While in college, a tabloid threatened to out him. So Danny decided to own his story and publicly declare he was gay. But after a long-term relationship ended, that story took a dark turn. Danny began experimenting with crystal meth, leading to a sexually promiscuous lifestyle. In 2003, at just 27 years old, he was diagnosed with HIV. He's lived with this secret for 12 years until now.
Hi, Danny.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Of course.
So it was just a few days ago that you revealed that you have been HIV positive for the past 12 years. Why now are you sharing this secret?
This is the kind of thing you've got to be really, really ready for. And I haven't been ready before this, you know. Telling your family that you've got HIV is hard enough. Telling your friends that you had a meth problem is hard enough. Telling the country and waiting for their response is something you have to get, it takes some time.
Yeah, it does. It goes back to when you were 27-year-old. And how did it start? How did the meth problem start?
Yeah, that's the question of the day, because everyone thinks it comes back to child celebrity and that I was having a hard time in my life and all that. And unbelievably, it doesn't. The problem
Stand up for that. Let's say that again. It's not just because we're child stars we go through this.
Yeah, of course.
It's not just because of that.
It's not just because of it, no. Meth specifically, the problem with meth is that it's completely intertwined with sex. So as soon as I wanted to explore some rougher sides of my sexuality, I encountered meth. And as soon as that happens, you go down that road. Now, the reason I kept doing it over the years was probably because I had some stuff going on in my life that I was not ready to deal with or that I was having a hard time dealing with. But the initial moment, that first time, was because of sex, and that's the problem.
Can you tell us about the day you found out you were HIV positive?
Oh, man, I was working as a talent assistant here in New York. I was on my lunch break. It was my regular old 6-month checkup. I had no idea. Went to the doctor's office and got the news. Walked back to work. Spent another 6 hours doing talent agent stuff. And went home and cried, you know? Yeah, it's that moment.
I want to know, do you take responsibility for your actions?
100%.
For your... For being promiscuous, going into a lifestyle of having heightened sex because of the meth that you were using.
100%.
I want to know what the message is, because you're you want to be the face of HIV, to give that a face. But what is the message that you have? What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't want to be a hero, or I don't want to be the role model. I want to be the example. I want to be the example of what can happen if you get into drugs, if you're being promiscuous, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not being checked, if you're not living a healthy, responsible lifestyle. And yeah.
There's also different ways to get AIDS. It's not just through sex. It's a lot of different ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you worked with any organizations or?
Yes, that's my plan. I mean, because I've had to sort of keep this under wraps, I haven't been able to get anything started. Okay. But there's a whole list and it's growing, and I cannot wait. I literally quit my job. I was working as a manager at P.F. Chang's, quit my job. I'm taking a year off, and I'm going to sort of call it the Beacon of Light Tour, and I'm going to literally, if I have to, I'll go from pride to pride around the country to try to get my community to say, you know, let's get our crap together. Yeah. You know, this is not okay with me.
And you're on medication?
I am, yes. Yeah.
And you're also married?
I am, yes. He's here.
I have a question for your husband. Please tell me if this is too personal. Hi, I have a question for you, and please tell me if this is too personal. You guys have been together for 3.5 years. Do you guys have protected or unprotected sex? Can I know? Is that too? That's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, I mean, the question is we're married, and you try not to have limits in your marriage, right? But there have to be limits for us. Have we always been 100% safe? No, but I'm undetectable. And that means that it's really hard for me to give it to him. So we're okay with that. We have that understanding that I'm taking care of myself, he's taking care of himself.
We do have a statement, though, that says if you are HIV positive and still having unprotected sex, regardless of what antiviral drug percentages that you're using, you're still not keeping your partner 100% safe.
Of course not. Oh, of course not.
To let
yeah, no, of course. There is always a chance of risk, right? But here's the thing. Right now, you've got people saying they're negative, and they got tested 6 months ago. How many partners have they had since then? How safe were they with those partners? They're still telling people they're negative. But if you're saying to your partner, I'm undetectable, that means you're taking care of yourself. You know you're doing everything you can to be as healthy as you can be, and you're doing everything you can to take care of that person, right? That's as much as I can do, other than the normal protection aspects of having a
Hashtag Child Stars Unite. What's up, guys? On a whole other note.
Yes.
Well, it is. Sorry.
It's so funny. Well, thank you so much, Danny. Thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us, and we will be right back.
Kicking off the Marvel Superhero Spectacular, and we want you to be a part of Marvel Universe too. Members of our audience are getting a Marvel Superhero Spectacular package, including Playmation Marvel's Avengers, the Avengers of Age of Ultron DVD Blu-ray, and a ton more. I love Marvel. Your grandson's going to want to.
And we are letting five lucky home viewers in on the fun too. To see how you can enter for a chance to win this Marvel Superhero Spectacular package, follow us on Twitter at The View. You have from now until 11 p.m. tonight Eastern Time to tweet your entry. We're going to announce the 5 winners on Twitter next week, so follow us now at The View. Okay, everybody. Have a great day. Have a wonderful day, and take a little time, come on, say it with me, to enjoy The View.